Alright, hello there everyone. Welcome to the live streams. The live streams are back. Hopefully everything is set up and looking good here. Got a new microphone, so I want to test that out. Okay, that's looking good. Okay, yep, got a new microphone, a new capture card here. If you guys recall, if you were around for the previous live streams, hopefully this is a little better here. There's a lot less cords on my end. From the previous live streams a couple of years ago, there were quite a lot of cords involved in getting the live stream ready from last year. So here we are. Again, just let me know if anything is too quiet or if anything's too loud or if things look good. From your guys' end here, I've kept the layout essentially the same from a few years ago, which is kind of crazy that was the last time that I was able to live stream, which is kind of crazy. All right, close some things here. Scott Davis is here. Turn the music down. Gotcha. Good to see you again, Scott. It's been a while. Good music down. Hopefully we'll be able to get some of the old crew back in here. I figured it may be a week or two before everyone kind of catches back on to the live streams, just because it's been a while. So this might be a little bit of a shorter live stream until we can get the crew back together that was here those couple years ago and maybe get a couple more new people in as well. So this is the first look at Umbara. I haven't posted an update video yet. I'm in the process of recording a couple of those. So and this is something that was unique to the live streams last year as well. I will keep them on replay. So if you do miss the live streams, you can always catch them afterwards as well. But one of the kind of unique things about it is if you do catch the live streams, you get to see whatever I'm building a little bit earlier than the update, which is always really cool. And that's something I like about live streams when I watch other channels too, is you get to see some of the behind the scenes stuff. So I've got a little bit done so far on the actual build. You'll hear me talk about this obviously more in the live stream, but essentially what I've got going on so far is the battlefield area. So my main objective for Umbara was to build the what's called the capital. I'm going to build the capital, but for the first, I've got like a first gray base plate and a half-ish. I'm going to do the battlefield and more of the scenes that you actually recognize from the game itself, or not from the game. Sorry, I'm so used to Zepho on Jedi Fallen Order. From the show itself, I want to do a couple of scenes from the show itself, so then at the convention, people might be able to recognize it. If it's just the capital city, I don't know if people will recognize that it's Umbara from the Clone Wars. So that's the first thing I will be building here in the first maybe 2 episodes, maybe 3, is the battlefield area with the road. You'll see I've got some of this laid out. This is where the road will be. And then over here, I've got the trenches area, which I will talk a little bit more in the update, obviously. But my main plan there is to do a couple of different trenches, have like a World War I type trench warfare feel to this section up here. So the 501st will be engaged up in the front, and then obviously we'll have the 212th and plane troopers as well in the actual city. So what I want to do for this live stream is just kind of work on the trenches area. And one of the big problems that I've been seeing lately, and I knew this was going to be a problem, was it's really hard to record black Lego because it absorbs light. So hopefully you can kind of see it. That's just been something I've kind of knew was going to be a problem, but yeah, that's okay. I've been able to trying to find ways to work around it and stuff. So, all right, let's see. We got Clips Films here. What's up, dude? E-Wing has Monkey Kid hilt in light gray, not dark. Does that mean Maul can use the hilt for his lightsaber? I would assume so. Yeah, if I kind of understand what you're saying here. Light gray, not dark. Does that mean Maul? Yeah, I would assume so. I kind of understand what you're saying, but also not a little bit. You might have to reiterate. Splash Bros, what's up, man? Welcome, guys. Glad to see you guys here. I don't know if I'll do that particular scene as much as I would like to. I've seen other people do the scene, so I kind of want to do something a little different. I also don't know where I'd put that in the build, unless it's like somewhere in the corner or a little Easter egg area for the 212th versus the 501st. Just because I kind of want to focus on the main battle itself. And most of the build is the capital, so I wasn't entirely sure how much of like the stuff that you actually see in the show I will want to build I just kind of want to build the main road so I can have a cohesive, like, here's the battlefield, here's the road, and the road will lead up into the capital. So I might have a little bit of the 212th versus 501st, but it mainly might just be Republic versus Umbarans. But I do love that scene. I remember when I first watched that scene, my collab partner and one of my best friend, Paul, if you remember from a few years ago, I was at his house. We were watching that episode of Umbara, the Carnage of Krell, and I remember that happening. And the 501st is charging at the 212th, and you think it's just the Umbarans, and then you slowly start to figure out something's not right here. And back in, I almost said back in the day, yikes. Back then, in kind of like the Star Wars community and other such things, it was always a debate of like who would win in a fight, the 212th or the 501st. That was always kind of like a thing during the Clone Wars days. So that was slowly unfolding, and then once we found out that it was clone troopers fighting clones, I remember being so like tragically sad about that and being very distressed. And then I remember Paul laughing because he was so happy to see the 212th and 501st finally face off against each other. So that scene is very special to me. I have a lot of core memories with it, but I don't know if I'll be able to include it just because of space-wise, because most of the build will be the capital itself, and then this will just be the road section. So you're kind of seeing the first gray base plate and I guess one green base plate right here worth of the build, and then we've got 3 gray base plates going this way that are just going to be the capital city. So it's going to be pretty large in terms of the capital city versus the actual battlefield. But silver metal hilt wasn't metallic. I personally do like the metallic hilts a lot more that they have been doing. I just think they look a little better for the lightsabers. But how large will the Mach be? It's going to be pretty much the same size as Zepho. I think it should be about the same size as Zepho. So I usually build my builds about the same, except for Munilus, which was way bigger than anything I'd done before. So it'll probably be around the same size as Zepho from this last one. I'd like to make it wider. That's something I was thinking about. I'm just not too sure yet because this is a lot to tackle with what I've got so far. So we will see. What are your thoughts on this wave? Oh, the new summer Ahsoka waves. Yeah, I do enjoy the T6 shuttle is one that I definitely want to get because I missed out on the first one. So that's one for sure that I want to get. So we got a couple more guys. Droid, what's up, man? Good to see you, bro. Brickfish, what's up, man? Great to see you, Ian. It was so good to see you at Brickworld. I've been reminiscing of Brickworld the past few days. I still haven't taken apart my full Mach yet from Brickworld either. It's Zepho's sitting over there in a big bin right next to my parts from my Samurai Castle build from 2022. And Munilist is over there on that side of the room. I've got most of it sorted, but there's still like a couple bins full. And then Zepho, I got a ton of it sorted, but there is so much more left to sort that I just haven't willed myself to do yet. So yeah, I really don't like sorting, and if it tells you anything, I still have half of a bucket of Munilus still to sort, because for some reason I decided to dump Munilus into a bin at the end, which made it a lot harder to kind of sort. So yeah. Oh, thanks. I'm glad you enjoyed Zepho. I had a lot of fun with that one. Even though it was Galactic Civil War and I'm a Clone Wars guy, I definitely had a lot of fun on that one. Also, if you guys aren't following Droid on Instagram or YouTube, I would go check him out. He's got some really cool things going on right now with Helm's Deep and then some of his previous stuff. So go follow him if you haven't already. So yeah. Mostly for these streams, if you guys were here for the previous ones a couple years ago, I didn't really get a ton of building done. I kind of just said I would build, and then instead I would just talk to you guys. So hopefully that is okay with you guys. I won't really do much building in these. I'll do some, but I mostly just like to talk to everybody. That's kind of what I like to do. All right, let's see here. 2024 rumors just have to wait. This will fix Super Battle Droids. Yeah, that was the Super Battle Droid problem with everything cracking was I can't tell you how many Super Battle Droids I have lost to just from playing with them as a kid. I've lost so many. So if that fix would potentially work, then I'd be all for it, honestly. What's up, Brad Bricks? Hey, man, it's been a while. Yeah, I like I said, I haven't live streamed in 2 years, which is kind of crazy. Last everybody saw of me, I was abducted by Tuscan Raiders, but I managed to get it out, to get out of their camp. Thank goodness. The last live stream I had Tuscan Bricks, I think was his name, coming in here and saying how much he loved the horrendous battle pack that was the Tuscan Raiders and the Jawas, and I was having none of that in my chat. And the downside of that was the Tuscan Raiders came in and abducted me. But I made it out and, gave a little revenge for Shmi Skywalker and destroyed all the Tuscans. So hopefully Boba Fett doesn't come and get me next. What else we got in here? There he is, True Squadron. What's up, Kennedy? How's it going, man? Another person from Brickworld that I met and spent a ton of time with. Go check out his stuff. He's got something very exciting in the works. So I can't wait to see when he gets started on that. Let's see what else we got here. Yeah, starting a new build and sorting. That after Brickworld every year, you get so motivated to come home and build, and it happens every single year. And then right when you get home, you just have, at least in my case, you have this this build that just needs to get taken apart, and it's like so demoralizing because you're so motivated to build, but you don't have any space or any parts because they're all being used on the previous in the previous build. So yeah, it's sorting. Yeah, I hate sorting, which is why my mocks never get sorted. I slowly just take apart pieces, and then like today I was sorting through my castle mock, and I found so many pieces where I was like, I was really looking for that piece when I was doing Zepho. So that's the downside to not sorting all your stuff is you're gonna have pieces in there that you wish you would have used, which yeah. Super Bad Boys never sit on chairs. That's true. We never seen him sit on chairs. Brickfish, I did, like at the very beginning of the stream, I explained the 212 thing, first file first, how much I would love to do it. But for what I'm doing, which is mostly the capital, I don't know if I'll be able to include that or not. But I went on a whole spiel about that earlier. And of course, I went on and ranted about the episode and how awesome it was and a core memory from that Carnage of Krell episode. But yeah. And then for a large, the scale of the mock, it's going to be similar to what I did with Zepho. I really wanted to do one that was wider, had more width, but I just don't know if I would be able to do that because I really want to make very tall buildings in the capital city for Umbara. So I don't know if I'll be able to make it any bigger than like what I normally do. Munilus was the largest mock I've ever done, but I think this one will be more Zepho size. But it'll be a little taller. It'll feel taller because of the buildings. So. Last you could remember, yes, talking about Fox. Yeah, that was like the first or second live stream. I was still using like my iPhone and stuff to record those live streams. Yeah, we were talking about Fox and all that stuff. So I remember that got a little, that was kind of crazy. And then first episode, man, I wish I could tell you. No, I'm just kidding. I've recorded a couple different segments and I'll keep doing that. My goal is next weekend. Would be the goal for that. Yeah, Melbourne, that is true. I agree with that. Although I do like a lot of the designs in the LEGO games, but it would be kind of cool to get some more unique ones. I also have an idea for a video that I was talking about to people. This really has nothing to do with what we were talking about, but I'll just be jumping around, so don't mind me. And we do have a lot of batteries going on my computer and my camera, so if anything dies, I'll have to go plug it in real quick. What was I even saying? Oh, I have a video idea, and I'm reminded of this because of the guys I have set up over there. I wanted to do a video showing like how I do my intros and outros, and just sit there and hit record, because it takes me so long to do my intros and outros. And then if I bump something and everything falls down just the way I set up figures and everything, it takes me forever to do these and to get the framing right. So I really want to do just a video where it's, just watching me try to set this up and how many curse words and how upset I get smashing the table when everything falls over and I have to restart. And there'll be times when I just want to move something just right and then it knocks something else over and I have to start all over again. So I'm thinking about doing a video on that where it's just watching me set this up and struggle. Even this one yesterday was a struggle to set this up. Some of the melee combat in there. I've got a lot of slopes in this particular trench, which is kind of hard to see because it's all black and absorbing the light. but just I couldn't get it lined up, and it was a mess, but I got it. Oh yeah, I agree. The inaccurate fox torso is bad. I've kind of come to the point now where I used to get pretty worked up about like a lot of the Lego stuff in terms of like inaccuracies and like why aren't they doing this set or that set, but I'm not really. I don't care too much anymore, honestly. Mostly just because I'm doing mocks instead of getting the sets at this point. So, but whenever there's a good set, I'll go out and grab one. Like I still haven't got the ATTE yet, just because it's $100-some. I'd rather spend that on parts. I really want the BD1 kind of buildable thing. I haven't been able to get that yet, and I want to get the gunship. But when you add those 3 sets up, that's quite a lot of money that could go to parts, or in this particular series, figures, which is it's going to be hard for this one. I probably have enough 501st from the battle packs, but the Umbarans and 212th are absurd. I was able to recently pick up one of these older 501st guys from kind of a local toy store that I found. They had them for $10, which wasn't, it's not great. I would not want to pay that much for a figure, but that's kind of what the market is at right now. So, yeah, figures are going to be expensive, so that'll probably be a couple episodes. But, yeah, so instead of buying sets, I just try to buy parts and things like that nowadays. But, all right. And if I miss anything, just say it in the chat again, because, I like to go on rants and I just talk forever. All right, what else we got? Yeah, Splash Bro, that's kind of what I was hoping for. I haven't really done that before. And I haven't seen anybody do really the Umbaran Capital, which is something that I've always wanted to do and see in Clone Wars. And I was in Chicago, and I was taking a couple pictures of the buildings downtown, because they kind of reminded me of something that I might want to look when I was visiting there. That might look like something you'll see in Umbara. So, yeah. Yeah, and then, yeah, the helmet holes, that is one thing that still annoys me about, even though I've said I won't get worked up about Lego stuff anymore. The helmet holes are something I'm just kind of not a big fan of. But what I have noticed is if you just use the kind of macros here, it doesn't look too bad. So I only have a couple of these newer 212th troops that I bought at Brickworld. If I do end up using, a lot of these, they'll probably all have the macros on them. Mostly I'll be using the 212th from 2014 with some Clone Army Customs helmets, because that's just what I have the most of. So, all right, what else we got here? Yeah, there are a lot of massive Clone Wars series. It's the past couple years it has gotten a lot more Clone Wars, which I'm fine with. I like it. I don't mind it. I'll probably need to place a decent amount of orders. Hopefully not too much, because I do have a lot of light gray from Unilist. So hopefully I won't need to buy too much more of that. I have a decent amount of black pieces to use for the kind of battlefield area up here in the first little bit of the mock. The biggest thing that I'm finding is plant pieces, trying to make the unique Umbaran plants, which I knew was going to be kind of a struggle, which is why I wasn't going to do a ton of the battlefield. You can see one design I've started to go with up top there, where I'm not using a traditional, kind of some of the other ideas I've seen for Umbara stuff that look really good, but are kind of expensive in terms of like getting those pieces. So I'm trying to find some alternate solutions, but I probably will need to spend a decent amount of money on some plant type pieces, but hopefully not too much on the city. Most of the stuff will probably be going towards figures, honestly. How many Umbarans do I have? That's a good question. I'm going to go grab. I recently got, so Umbarans are very expensive, obviously, which is a big issue if you're building Umbara. So one of the reasons why I'm also doing the capital is because, hopefully you still can hear me, because I figured in the capital building itself, or in the capital city, there would be quite a lot of just battle droids, because we see a lot of the battle droids in the aerial combat stuff in the episode. So I figured, hey, there's probably going to be some droids on the ground, so I thought it'd be cool to have a lot of droids in the capital city itself fighting alongside Umbarans. But for Umbarans, what I recently did was found a site that had like 20 or so of just the torsos. So just like the Umbaran torsos. Or no, I got like 15 of just the Umbaran torsos, and then was able to get 15 heads from a different website. And then I just need to kind of use whatever legs I can. Technically, you're supposed to use these legs, but I'll use like a combination of dark gray, light gray, all sorts of different combos for legs. So Umbarans will be tricky to get a lot of, but I'm kind of hoping to use a lot of battle droids in the city area itself, and then the Umbarans, a lot of them will be kind of in this battlefield area. The biggest problem I've found for Umbarans are these stupid helmets. I mean, they're cool. They're not dumb, but these things are incredibly expensive. I had no idea these ones would be this expensive. So what I might end up doing is using different types of helmets like this. Some of these different helmets, and then switching out the visor and maybe doing like a green visor or some sort of different colored visor, or just something like this. I know it doesn't look as good, but it is so much cheaper than paying however many dollars for just one single helmet for the Umbarans. So as of right now, I can outfit about 14 or 15 Umbarans, and they kind of look like this. And slowly over time, I'll be collecting more. And then once I have enough of them, I'll kind of combine them with the battle droids. And then if I ever get, I think the donations are still set up on here. I was going to do kind of a whole thing where you can put money towards whatever figure. Like you could say, here's a super chat. I will put this towards an Umbaran. So then I'll like put a picture of an Umbaran on screen and do an Umbaran or something like that. But for now, what I'm planning on doing is looking for an Umbaran anywhere I can and kind of just picking them up, and then using different ways to use, different helmets to make them a little bit cheaper. So Umbarans will probably be the biggest spender of this mock, which is a lot different than previous years where it was a lot of the pieces. So there's your another, long discussion on a simple question, which was how many Umbarans do you have? About 14 or 15 ones right now that I can outfit. Yep, parts and sets. Yep, I agree with you there. That's just kind of where it is right now. The sets are very expensive too, which is unfortunate, but it's just kind of how everything is right now. Very expensive, but the sets are still pretty good for most of them, Yeah, the plain clones for droids, battle pack that's rumored next year. That's one I would get. Like you're saying there, Melbourne. I would definitely get that one for sure, because plain troopers are desperately needed. Owen Bricks, what's up, man? Speaking of Umbara, how you doing, man? Everyone go check out his Umbaran video. My goodness, his Umbara mock, that was phenomenal. I loved it. All right, I'll try to get caught up here. Yeah, the amount of figs. Yeah, I figured for your mock too, because I actually, Droid, 2018, I went around Brick World and got like the whole fellowship except for Mary, I think, because Mary wasn't there. And then on Bricklink, it was like $15 or something crazy, $16. And those prices on figures have gone up even since I got them. And I thought they were expensive. I thought Gandalf was expensive when I got him. So I've got the whole fellowship because I want to do a mock, but orcs, I couldn't get any orcs or like Urukai or anything for how expensive it was. So I feel for you when you're talking about the mock that you're trying to do right now. That's crazy. The only reference picture for the capital is like the far away one. In the first episode, when the 501st are walking down the road, right before that, it like shows the capital and then it pans down to the road, and it's like that. That's the only time I think you see the capital at all, which is good and bad. I love it because it means I can kind of use whatever creativeness I want to do for in terms of the small details, but with the overall look itself, I have a blueprint. So I think this may be the best of both. Of course, I would love if there was some more maybe art somewhere, but all I could find was that one screenshot, which was kind of crazy. But so Splash Bros, you do like the helmets? I mean, yeah, they could work for sure. It's a lot, if you're talking about the Umbaran ones, it's a lot cheaper than trying to do the actual helmet. It's just crazy. Because I've been thinking about doing this mock for a long while, and then I just thought now would be the best time to try to do it. Yeah, there you go, Owen. No Umbaran, so that's a smart choice on your part. Yeah, you never got any either, Kennedy? Yeah, I mean, it's just tough. The Umbarans are tough. Yeah, Chicago is the plan for now. Brick Road, Chicago. I'd love to go to Virginia sometime. It's just kind of in a bad, difficult spot in terms of my schedule. But yeah, okay. Sorry. Hopefully, I haven't been missing anything. go on a lot of rants on these live streams. We haven't had any negative like rants, which is good. Probably because the Bad Batch is finished up. Actually, I rewatched the last 2 episodes of Bad Batch last night. They're phenomenal. I really like those 2 episodes. But season 1 was when these live streams first started, so there's a lot of ranting about Echo's character in season 1. But I think we're good now. We've grown. Yeah, I'm hopefully to do the road. So I've got this laid out right now. This is straight. Obviously, the road is very circular. So I'm hoping to do the road, which is why I wanted to do a little bit of the battlefield, not very much. So we'll have a little bit of the road, and then the road leads up to the Capitol. And from the screenshot, what it looked like was the Capitol's almost built up a little bit. So I really want to do the road comes up here, and then build up on the Capitol. So the Capitol's a couple bricks higher than the road, and then just have it slope up, and then have the Capitol built up over the road, because that's kind of what I got from the screenshot at least. So that's the plan, is to have the road, and I'll explain more of this in the update video, but yeah, which hopefully I'll be able to, my plan is to get that update video next weekend will be the first episode, which will mainly be focused on kind of this battlefield area for the most part. Oh, sweet, you're going to Chicago? Awesome, Owen, that'd be good. I don't know if you've been before, I can't remember or not, but it's, I know you went to Virginia. Brickworld is fantastic, so if you're there, that'd be awesome. And yeah, you're 3 Umbara. I mean, if you want to bring them for sure, I could find a little spot for them. What I've done is, if anybody has like figures at the convention that I buy off them, or that they just want to let me borrow, which I've been, like in the past, I've had a couple people let me borrow clones and stuff, which is like so gracious of everybody. I make sure to do something cool with them and be like, hey, come look. What do you think about the setup on these figures? So Alex, Michigan Bricks, I bought. He gave me a phenomenal deal for some older Stormtroopers from like the 2007 Stormtroopers. So then I kind of brought him over. I was like, all right, so here's what I'm thinking for the figures. I'm going to set these up right here, and then what do you think? And then kind of just because if you're having me like borrow stuff or figures or anything like that, I want to make sure they look really good in the mock. So if you're talking about using pinhole arms, oh, but he said it was 2. I mean, it could work. I don't think that they're going to redesign the Super Battle Droid. I haven't been keeping up with the rumors, so I could be wrong here, but I don't know if they'll redesign the Super Battle Droids. I could see them making a new mold for the like upper chest, maybe making it a little more detailed, but I don't know if they'll actually redesign the way they do Battle Droid stuff. Like, trust me, like with my figures and everything, I would love to have posable Battle Droid legs. That's like one of the things I've always wanted the most. And obviously, Brick Arms now has, as my fan is going crazy on my computer, Brick Arms has like the arms that you can do. I got them for some of my assassin droids from Unilist and was able to do some really cool stuff with them. But I also don't like the idea of having to buy, like, you buy the Lego set, I've got my droids, now I gotta buy another thing to do the arms and the legs. It'd be cool if Lego did more posability with those, but I don't think they will, which they don't need to, because most people are just buying the sets. People aren't really thinking about posing Battle Droid arms and stuff like that, but yeah. Let's see. Yeah, about the size of Zepho. And I was hoping to make it a little bit wider than some of the previous mocks, but I just don't know if I'll have enough pieces to do that. I would love to make it like one base plate on each side wider, but I don't know if I'll be able to do that much. It's a lot of money to try to expand the mocks, even like Zepho, where I thought I had all the pieces. I ended up spending still $100 or $200 just on random pieces that I thought I would have, but when I got into the building, I just didn't have enough of them. So just random stuff that you can't really account for, and that's why I kind of choose the same size every time, so I know what I'm dealing with. One of these years I could go a little bigger, but not yet. I need to acquire some more pieces to do something that large. But again, what I like about the current size that I do for like Zepho and these mocks is it's big enough to where it's, still a pretty impressive, big, large scale, but I'm able to put a decent amount of details into it. in particular when I'm going to do the capital city. I'm really hoping that that's better than Munalist, better than any of my other kind of urban style mocks that I've done. Hopefully it has a little more detail into it. That's kind of the goal here. Some really awesome streets and like close quarters combat for clones and Umbarans and battle droids, and just what I've always imagined, you know, the battle for the capital of Umbara to look like if we're taking the amount of like casualties and craziness that the clones had when we just followed the 501st. Now imagine that, and I imagine it would be like times 2 or 3 if they were trying to take the capital of Umbara. I feel like the Umbarans would have most of their defenses in the capital. Even though I know the 501st took out, you know, the air base and some of the other stuff that was resupplying everything, but yeah, that's what I'm most excited for, is just all the craziness that's going to happen in the capital. First brick roll, there you go. Yeah, it's awesome, man. It's so good. I don't want to get on like a huge 30-minute crazy talk about how much I love it and how I'm like, it means quite a lot to me every year. It's like the big thing that I look forward to, but Scott will be going too. There we go. I love it. Oh, that's going to be awesome. So yeah, this year, like Kennedy, I was able to meet True Squadron. I was able to meet him for the first time this year, which was spectacular, and a bunch of other new people as well. So if you guys make it there next year, that'll be awesome. So even talking about it just gets me excited. I try not to think about it too much because it's still so far away. But anytime I hear somebody's going for the first time, I'm just like, that's what I like to see. I love it. That's awesome. And yeah, I would hope they would redesign. Is that too loud? Oops. Sorry, I just saw the levels spike up on the microphone. First time using this microphone, so hopefully it sounds okay. I hope they redesign the clips so they don't break. I have so many, like my droids bin is right over there, and just the amount of clips, just so many are broken. It's crazy. Yeah, true. The fatigue does increase the stress. I've also done it where you can, Paul, my friend and my collab partner from a few years ago, he kind of came up with this thing where you can, I don't know if I think I used it in Unilist. You can kind of take the arms off the droids and just like balance them on the edge so they're not like fully clipped in, and it looks really good, but it definitely puts some stress, and you have some that might break. So give and takes of intricate figure positioning. Totally fascinating, huh? Hey, G-Nox, what's up, man? That was way too loud again. I'm sorry. Let me turn this down. Good to see you, man. Great to see you. I remember everyone from the live streams. We had a good crew, and I like to see some of you guys back. That's awesome. It's so cool. Because we, like, 2 years ago when I was doing these live streams, we did quite a lot of weeks in a row. It still astonishes me how that happened. I was able to somehow make this work every week with all the technical issues and all this stuff. And we just, every week, would get on and talk about Bad Batch and other such things. So hopefully we can get back to that. That'd be really awesome. And sorry, hopefully I haven't missed any of the chats. I'm watching like all like my levels and all these things to try to make sure it all is looking good. So if I miss something, just let me know. Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if you're talking about animated stuff getting canceled, especially right now with a lot of the writers' strike and actors' strike. I don't know if a lot of stuff would, because the only animated shows in production right now would be Bad Batch, Tales of the Jedi, and they have one of the kids ones too, right? That they're making a Lego set of. I forget the name of it. So I don't know how much stuff would get canceled. I hope Tales of the Jedi doesn't get canceled. I also recently watched the Ahsoka one where she's training with Anakin. Man, that was cool. Cool to see Phase 1 Clone Troopers in that new animation style with like the updated animation style. All the details on everything looked so good. It's so nice to see. Although I did notice a lot of inconsistencies in terms of character design when I was watching that episode. Obviously the first one, Obi-Wan's mullet, which looks incredible, but obviously he wouldn't have had his mullet because Ahsoka, and we introduced Ahsoka in Christophsis where he doesn't have his mullet, and then he has his mullet in those episodes. And then I also noticed in that Tales of the Jedi episode, they used the wrong clone pilot. I think they used a clone pilot from later on in the season, I believe, instead of like the yellow clone pilots that we see in the Clone Wars movie, but small, nitpicky stuff. It's probably not a big deal. No, I don't have Phase 2 Rex. I know, right? I've had this like pretty decent sized Clone Army Customs like order in my cart for like Rex, 5s, and hard case. I only have Jesse and the 501st guys that I got at Chicago. I just haven't been able to. It's like $100 some, and I just haven't been able to will myself to spend that much money on Clone Army Customs right now. Because again, that's a lot of money for parts. But eventually, I'll definitely get Rex. And since I'm doing the road, even though it's a small part of the mock, I probably need to get 5s and hard case and everything. But it might be a while before that, because I don't know if I could justify spending that much yet on those figures. You going to college next week? It's nice, Is this your first year? Is this a different year? College is fun, stressful, but also fun. And if you're away from your Lego collection, that'll also be a little tough. But I remember I brought some stuff with me to try to build a couple things. In the dorm room, I built like one of my Napoleonic era mocks, which was fine, but definitely not ideal to try to build in that. And then when I got an apartment for college, I was able to bring a couple more things, and I did like one of the Mandalorian mocks, like the sewer mock, and a couple things like that. So if you do want to bring your collection with you, you definitely can. It's just it's a little tough. It's a problem. I mean, I hope Tales of the Jedi Season 2 wouldn't get canceled. I would feel like they already have most of it filmed or animated, just because animation works so far in advance. Yeah, the strikes are quite unfortunate, but hopefully, kind of what I've been hearing a little bit of is they might get resolved here by October, November, hopefully. And yeah, we still don't have an answer on Barriss. We'll see if we get one in the Ahsoka show. If I had to guess, I don't think we're going to get any Barriss stuff in the Ahsoka show in terms of answers. I wouldn't be surprised if when we get a flashback, because I think we're getting flashbacks with Anakin in Clone Wars. I wouldn't be surprised if Barriss is there in the flashbacks. I just don't know if we'll ever get an answer to what happened to her for quite a long while. Mostly because it's such a big thing. It's like, when do you tackle that as a storyteller? Because it's nice to always have that, what happened to Barriss floating around. It would be kind of hard to tackle because it's such a thing that's been built up over the years. It's like, whatever you do, how are you going to keep up with that expectation? So the Barriss story is tough. I wouldn't be surprised if that doesn't really get touched almost, I don't want to say ever, but I wouldn't be surprised if we just never find out what happened to her. I don't know. We'll see. First year, you'll have fun, Genox. It's a little, there's a lot going on your first year, and it's kind of crazy and a new life experience, but you'll have fun. It'll be good. Oh yes, Livestream tradition of putting figures on the hat. That was a good. I almost forgot about that. So what figures? So I've got this Lego hat, I think from Eclipse Graphics, that I got my first Brick World. So we got to figure out what exactly we want to do for figures on the hat. I think the most obvious would probably be like a 212th Trooper or something, but maybe we do something different. I'm looking around. Okay, yeah, so we could do something Umbaran, like Clone Wars. We could do 212th, 501st, or we could do, Spider-Man, Batman, Superman, some, superhero guys, Lord of the Rings, any sort of Star Wars stuff. Just start throwing suggestions, and I'll see if we can put some on the hat. Brick Hall, what's up, man? Good to see you, dude. Welcome. Oh, and yeah, it's tough. First, with being away from the collection is hard. Luckily, I was only a couple hours away from home, so I was able to come back. This was the year I was working on Siege of Mandalore. I was able to come back a couple times and build, so that was nice. But it's tough, but you'll kind of get used to it. You'll have other stuff to keep you occupied, but you'll still, there'll be times when you miss the collection, but it's, you've got, digital Lego designing if you want. I know it's not the same, but I tried it and I was like, yeah, just not for me. I just couldn't do it, the digital designing stuff, but it'll be tough, but don't worry about it. You'll have a lot to keep you occupied and have fun, so. Yeah, I don't think the eye color change will be explained either. I think it's just one of those things where it's you gotta kind of accept it. You're a different actor playing the character, and kind of like Dooku looking crazy in the Clone Wars with his chin, stuff like that. It definitely is annoying, but you just kind of gotta let it go. Oh yeah, Andor, in my opinion, is the best Star Wars show they've done in the Disney era so far. I love Mando season 1 and season 2, but in my opinion, Andor for me is my top tier favorite. It's what I like to see in Star Wars. Obviously, I'd love to see more action in Andor, but that's just not really the show. So I like the action in Mando and like the excitement and the adventure, but in terms of the depth with the characters and the universe and everything, I prefer Andor and the real locations, that they're using there. I don't mind like the CGI locations. The volume at times, it did get a little kind of iffy, but in particular, the reason I say I like the locations on Andor, not because I would say I prefer like real locations over the CG environments or the volume, but the specific locations that they picked for Andor, for me personally, was better than what they were doing in Mando. So like when they went to the Scottish mountains to film like the Aldhani stuff with the Imperial base, all of that, in my opinion, is just spectacular. Like the cinematography and the locations were spectacular in the show. Even like the ISB headquarters, everything about it, I just absolutely love that show. And I'm kind of sad it's only 2 seasons, but at the same time, even the characters I think are so well written, so well acted, and just crazy. The Luthen character is my favorite. I joke, Ander. I love everything about that character. His speech, his sacrifice speech. I love how he kind of trails a little bit on like when he's talking to the double agent, in the elevator. He's like, how's your new kid or whatever? And you're like, this guy's a little, he's not necessarily a good guy. I mean, he's fighting the tyranny, but at the same time, his methods are a little unorthodox, Or like my favorite like scene in the whole show is probably, the scenes between Luthen and Saw Gerrera. I just love that stuff. So sorry, a long answer to yes, I have watched Andor, and personally, it's my favorite of the shows. Oh, the Omega Squad, those are cool. I like CIC makes some of the best stuff. I love CIC, which is why I want to have some of them in the mock, but just a little pricey nowadays. Especially when I would want to spend that money potentially on parts instead. But I'll get around to getting all the clones and everything. I have everybody I need for the 212th because it's just going to be Cody and Boyle. Because Waxer, unless I do his scene, Waxer will have passed on, unfortunately. I've also got some 212th jetpack troopers as well, and a 212th ARF trooper, or not ARF trooper, sorry, ATRT driver. So let's see. Yeah, if you can get an apartment in your second year, Owen, you get a little more freedom in terms of, just more space, and then you might be able to bring some of your Lego stuff up. But the whole fellowship, oh geez. I have everybody except, I'm looking over there now, and for some reason Samwise Gamgee does not have a head. So that means I'm using his head on some other minifigure somewhere. That's blasphemy, I know. Yeah, I can get the Boromir also doesn't have a hair piece right now. I have no idea where that went. I think I was using it on Obi-Wan or something. We could do the whole fellowship, minus Mary, because I have never paid for him yet. Ponkrell, if I can find a Ponkrell figure for not an absurd price, I would like to have him in the mock. Although right now, I'm thinking of just having Anakin because I really like the initial landing sequence with the 501st. So, excitement for Ahsoka. It's weird. I haven't been excited as I thought, probably just because I've been a little disappointed with, Obi-Wan, Boba Fett, and the recent Mando. And I've got a hot take. I'm not a huge fan of Rebels. I know that's, I just never have been a huge fan. I've watched pretty much all the episodes. There's some I've missed, but I've kept up with a lot of the lore of Rebels, so I understand. I know the characters and a lot of the, like World Between Worlds and a lot of those stuff that was set up. I do love the Ahsoka vs. Vader episode. In my opinion, that's some of the best Star Wars we've had. But I just never really connected with a lot of the characters, except for Kanan. I really like Kanan. So hearing it's a Rebels, season 5 or whatever, I'm not as excited. But obviously I love Ahsoka, so that's what I'm excited for. I'm excited for Ahsoka, and I'm excited for any potential Clone Wars flashbacks. But the Rebels characters, I know it's kind of crazy. I'm just not... I've always had... It's also, a little bit of my fault because I was very upset when they canceled Clone Wars. That's kind of like, that was everything for me. So when they canceled it, I kind of had a hatred towards Rebels, which was not fair at all. So the first couple seasons, I just, begrudgingly watched. But as the years went on, I tried to judge it more fairly. And there are some good episodes in there. I just personally never have been a huge fan of it. Hopefully the live action, maybe I'll enjoy the characters a little bit more. But I'm just excited for the Ahsoka part of it, as well as like exploring the unknown regions. That's the stuff I'm excited for. The continuation of the Rebels characters, I'm not as big as a fan of, but maybe hopefully I'll be able to change my mind at the end of the series and be like, yeah, I actually enjoyed Sabine this time around, stuff like that. But it's a new Star Wars show, so of course I'm excited for it, but I'm just more looking forward to Andor season 2. But I'll be tuning in. I mean, I'm anytime to see Ahsoka and potentially get some, prequel era flashbacks would be awesome. Let's see. Yeah, Andor was great. Sorry, I'm trying to catch up here. Hey, Mockhart, what's up, man? About the size of Zepho will be the goal. We'll see. Uh-oh, guys. Guess who's here? What's up? Star Wars Fan Room is here, guys. Jakob's here. What's up, man? We all had a great time at Brick World. So now we've got Kennedy, True Squadron, and Star Wars Fan Room in here. Axie was in here as well. So we've got a decent crew in here from Brick World. There was a lot of when I was editing my footage. So for some of you guys in here, so I was editing my footage for Zepho for Brick World this year, and I was recording all my video clips for Zepho very late at night, just because that's when it wasn't super busy. I was able to get all my shots and everything in the public days. So there was a group of us sitting around. A couple of those people I won't out because they are in the chat here. We don't want to get the FBI called on anybody. We were all sitting around while I was recording, just having a chat, and a lot of outrageous stuff was said, but it was so hilarious. So every time I was editing the clips and I had the audio on, I just heard all of the hilarious stuff that was discussed that night. So another plus to conventions, you get to hang out with all your friends and not necessarily even talk about Lego stuff. You could talk about a whole, bunch of different topics that, is just fun times. That was a fun night for sure. That was fun. All right, let's see what we got here. Crossprint or leaked crossprint 2020 Rex. What is? I don't know what that is. I'm sorry. I don't keep up with the leaks much anymore. You might have to explain it to me. I'm sorry. I've only seen the leaked Rex from the Venator, which looks pretty cool. I'm still just not a fan of not including the waist cape. I think that's absurd that they print the waist cape on. Very dumb in my opinion. Scott, you're gonna pass on the show? Yeah, I don't blame you really. Boba Fett and Obi-Wan and even Mando season 3 wasn't the best in my opinion, but I'm gonna watch it because it's a Star Wars show and it's Ahsoka. But again, I'm really Andor season 2 is the news I'm waiting for, and Tales of the Jedi season 2 whenever we get around to that. All right, see you later, Brickfish. Thank you so much for stopping by, man. Have a good night. Have a good night, man. Don't expose me. Oh, I won't expose you, man. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. What happens at Brick World, past midnight stays at Brick World. Yeah, that's the thing about it, Melbourne, is you could do all this work to get the perfect, Rex minifigure or perfect, whatever Clone Trooper minifigure you're trying to do, but then it's a lot of work to go to that and collecting all that stuff, so. But again, I'm just kind of at the point now where it's spending money on parts is kind of my main objective for now. But there will be some, like the Ahsoka shuttle set, the D6 shuttle, I really want to get that one. So, yeah. Yeah, late night convention talks, yeah, it's crazy, man. So painful to see. Yeah, I love the Boba Fett theme song. I listen to that all the time. I think the Boba Fett theme song is incredible. I love it so much. All right, I think I've finally caught up here to the chat. So that's a big thing, and I appreciate you guys putting stuff in the chat, because I don't build much on these streams. The main thing and why I brought back the streams, why I love doing them, is like just talking to you guys, which is cool. So thank you for putting all your kind of stuff in the chat. It really, really helps. So, and it's good seeing a lot of friends here, of course. Instead of texting each other on Discord, I guess I see your text, so you get to see my face, so at least halfway there for stuff like that. And you get a first sneak peek at the beautiful Umbara that I've got so far. Literally just plates, a trench that's really hard to see because black Lego absorbs all the light. Even though I have a massive light up here and a massive 2 softbox lights, and it's still just the plates absorb everything. So first couple episodes, it might be hard to see stuff until I get to the city, but I'm trying to figure out some sort of way to maybe, I don't know how, if I want to hang some sort of overhead light, because that's kind of the problem right now, is I need more light on this, I think. So I want to get an overhead light somehow so you can really see this part of Umbara. But yeah, we'll see. Yeah, a lot of Makar, a lot of cool stuff going down right now, which is awesome. I try to watch a lot of people's stuff. The only problem is I don't know if I try to keep up with everyone's series, and there's always well, not the problem, it's a good problem. There's always a new series popping up everywhere, which is really cool. So it's just awesome that there's all, anywhere you look, somebody's doing a cool mock, either series or video. It's awesome. It's really cool. I really love it. Oh, History Builder's here. What's up, man? How's it going? Long time no see, man. Hope you've been doing well. I saw you went to Brick Fair this year, so I saw your post on your tank that you built and stuff. So hope you've been doing well, man. I missed you at Brick World this year. I missed you. Hopefully you can make it next time. Hey, see you later, Ian. Good to see you, Axidroid. Take care, man. May force be with you, my friend. Glow in the dark stuff. That's actually a really good idea. I hadn't really thought of that, because there's a couple of pieces from Lego that actually glow in the dark, right? Or am I crazy? I feel like there was. So if anyone knows the name of those, or do you just look up glow in the dark bricks on Bricklink, or how exact? What would that be under? Just the studs? So if I want a 1x1 stud, do I look up that and then they have the option for glow in the dark, or what exactly is? Because there are glow in the dark ones. I hadn't really thought about that. So. Why the file first needed the capital when the show is 212? Yeah, mostly because. And I think I explain it in the first update video whenever I post that. Maybe I don't. I have no idea. I wanted to do the very small part of the mock at the beginning to be the recognizable thing from the show. So then when people come to the convention, they recognize that it's Umbara. Because if I just did the whole mock as the capital city, I don't know if people would be like, hey, that's Umbara. So I want to do a small part of Umbara, and I want to do it from the show on this side of the mock, mostly because people recognize it, and I've always wanted to build, the stuff from the show. But most of the mock, is the capital itself. But this first part up here will be some trenches and the main road. And if I'm going to do the main road and the trenches, I want to do the 501st up here because, one, I don't have enough 212 troops or plane troopers to do both the capital city and the road. Because obviously my ideal, craziness would be to be able to have the capital and then do all the entrenchments in the road with the 212th and just Sase Tin's battalion pushing into the capital. But I would want so many figures for that. I'm just going to give all of my 212 figures in plane troopers into the capital so I can do as much close quarters crazy combat as possible, and then have the 501st over this area because I have enough figures for it. Plus, when people come to the convention, they'll be like, oh, this is the thing from the show, and all that stuff like that. That's the main reason for the 501st. Obviously, it doesn't make entirely sense because the capital was really far away from the 501st, but I'm just doing a little bit of that creativeness, freedom to try to make it more recognizable for people, and because trying to buy that many 212 figures or plane troops would be kind of crazy. Plus, it's always, those Umbaran episodes are so like integral to my base of just like Clone Wars fandom and Star Wars fandom in general, that um, being able to build like the road with the 501st is just kind of a cool, thing. It's a good question though, and I probably should explain that in the video, but I don't really want to. I don't know if people would want to sit there and listen to me talk about that forever, because that's one thing I'm trying to do a little better on my update videos. Is, I mean, it was really bad on Munilist where like I would sit there and just ramble, for so long. I would just ramble about, such like small things that's like everyone's, it's just like, hey, I just want to see what you're building, and I'm sitting there like, talking like crazy and about stuff that like, who cares really. So that's what the live stream's for. No, I'm just kidding. Live stream's for me to ramble and talk to you guys. So for the updates, I'm trying to be more short and concise, so there's not just a bunch of rambling and camera movement. Let's see. Brick Fair was good back in the dorm. Cooking up some good stuff. All right. Yeah, if you make it a Brick World, man, that would be awesome. Because History Builder, I met, or Noah, I met him, Brick World 2019, and he had his really cool World War II mock, and I had Siege of Mandalore, and I can remember the way the convention was set up. I remember exactly like where everything was. So I remember like sitting at my thing building, and then going like diagonal, up and diagonal to get to your build, and then like talking to you, and then running back, and then you getting my build set up. So yeah. What's the difference between 212th and 501st? So we got our 501st guys are the boys in blue, and then our 212th guys would be Obi-Wan's battalion, 212th attack battalion, right here. And the 212th was in the show. Obviously, we only see like these type of troops really during the briefing and when the 501st and the 212th attack each other, thanks to the Tyrant Ponkrell. But we know from the show that Obi-Wan the 212th went to attack the capital city. So that's what I would be building most of. I'm also realizing now I forgot. Actually, droid left. Damn it. I was supposed to put on the fellowship on my hat. Well, I'll do it anyways, even though he left. Oh, goodness, everything's falling. So I'm only missing Sam Wise Genji's head, which I don't know where it went, so that's great. That's great. I'll have to find that. Here's all the fellowship boyos. I'll put some of them on my hat here. There's the hat here. I think I can fit all of them on here. Yeah, Lord of the Rings. I also love Lord of the Rings. That's like one of my bigger regrets is not getting any of the Lord of the Rings sets when I was a kid. Mostly because I couldn't buy any of them. And if I did, for some reason, have money from Christmas, it would be, I'm going to go buy a battle pack, a Clone Wars battle pack instead. So yeah, we're missing here Sam Wise Genji because his head is being used. I don't even know where I have it at, but yeah, Lord of the Rings I love. I love all of them, even the Hobbit ones I really love. Well, I don't know if I really love. I really like. But yeah, Two Towers is probably my favorite. All right. Sorry, actually, droid kind of already left, but here is our, I'll have to take a screenshot and send it to him or something. Here is the Fellowship minus Sam, because his head is missing. All right. What do we got here? Yeah, I think so, Melbourne. I mean, the games are always good for reference, but I would prefer, look at actual source material for your characters. Yeah, Mandalorians shows respect, not too much clone troopers, yeah. Scott Davis is right. Let's get some World War II love. I love it. Back, like, when I was a lot younger, some of the earlier, like, Brick Fair, Virginia had to be early 2010s. The thing that, like, I always would love from Brick Fair would be the amount of military builds that were there. So, like, so many military builds would be there, and then Beyond the Brick would upload them. And I would just watch so many of those World War II builds, and I slowly collect World War II stuff over the years, and now I've got enough to make a couple mocks, which I've made a couple mocks. History's a big thing. I love history stuff, so I've always wanted to do, this type of scale for a World War II mock. I don't know if I ever will for a long time, just because Clone Wars is kind of, and Star Wars is what I do. But my dream, like I've always had a dream to where I want to build a mock that's this big, maybe even bigger, and do like Stalingrad. I know other people have done Stalingrad, but Stalingrad's like the battle I enjoy studying the most. So I've always wanted to just make a massive Stalingrad build with all sorts of trenches through the streets and like under like just that's a dream one day, is to do a massive Stalingrad, but we'll see if we ever get around to it. Let's see. See you later, Mockcart. No problem, man. Thanks for stopping by. Full speed with you, man. Get some sleep. Record for minifigs on a hat. It probably is for this live stream. There's also studs right here, so technically I could probably get more. Maybe one time I'll have to do that and get as many as I can on there. 212. How many do I have? I have 3 of the new guys, and then I have probably, let me see if I can find the boxes on the wall of how many of the 2014 ones I have. I probably have 3 or 4 of the 2014 212th battle packs. And then Brickworld 2017, I went around and bought pretty much any 212th that I could see. So people were selling a decent amount of airborne troops and regular 212th in 2017, and the prices for them were not crazy. So who knew from then until now the prices would get so crazy? But for an airborne trooper from the 2014 battle pack in 2017 from the vendors at Brickworld, which the vendors are notorious for pricing up the figures, you guys should see some of the prices they're asking for like a battle droid. I don't know how the vendors get away with it. It's criminal. I won't stand for it. Some of the prices are absurd. But I probably paid $6 for an airborne trooper in 2017 from these vendors. So now they're like $20, maybe more. So I had a decent amount of 212, and then I have a lot of plane troopers, like the older plane troopers, and then I bought a bunch of helmets, like older helmets, to put on my Phase 1 clones as well. I'll probably have to buy a couple more. So hopefully enough to take the capital. We'll see. The black makes it difficult, mostly from, well, 2 reasons. One is you always want a good color palette in your mocks, so you want like a decent color palette. So like for Munalist, I went sand green and gray. I could have done all sand green, which actually would have looked kind of cool, but I wanted to get like a different color palette going on. So at least for me personally, I like to do color palettes in my mocks. You'll see like one color and then a second color, and that's like the primary colors. So for Umbara, that's hard, at least on this side of the mock, because it's all black, like plates and everything. Now, since I'm doing more of the mock, like the rest of the mock is the city, I don't really have to worry about that too much. But you'll see me messing around with some different colors. I'll talk about that in the update video as well. But it does make it difficult from a color standpoint, to look at. Especially the terrain I like to do is like the studded terrain, so I use a lot of plates and build up my terrain. You can't really see much of that on the black plates because it all blends together and absorbs the light. And then the second biggest thing is the camera. It's really hard to see black bricks on camera. It just absorbs the light. So, all right, we've been for about a little over an hour now, and I think we might be close to wrapping it up here. This was kind of not really a test, but this was the first live stream back from 2 years ago, which is still crazy to think about. So I just wanted to make sure everything was kind of rolling pretty good and sounded good and looked good. I wasn't expecting so many people to show up. This is awesome. This is amazing, and thank you guys so much for talking in the chat. It is just incredible. So yeah, the biggest thing on these live streams is I don't build. That's the biggest thing on these live streams, is I don't really build. I don't think I didn't place a single brick this entire stream, and I would prefer it that way, honestly, because I enjoy talking to you guys, and that's kind of the point of live streams. So maybe a little bit of clickbait that I don't actually build anything, but if anyone has a problem with that, well, I don't know. I just prefer talking with you guys more than building on these live streams. So yeah, it feels like we haven't really missed a beat in terms of like, it feels just like yesterday when I was doing a live stream, even though it was 2 years ago. I'm getting like just like reminiscing of like all the craziness that went down for those live streams, and it's incredible to be back doing these live streams. So my goal is to hopefully do these every week or every other week. Really just depends on how busy things get for the duration of Umbara here. So this was awesome. This was just as fun as it was when it left off. So, and that only really works because you guys are putting stuff in the chat. Like my worst fear is like doing a live stream and then not like no one really talking, just because I love to talk about Star Wars and history and Lego and all sorts of stuff like that. So anytime there's questions in the chat, I'll answer them and probably take twice as long as you should to answer them because I just ramble on like I'm doing right now. Shocker. Okay, so yeah, hopefully everything looked good too. New microphone, a new capture card. There's so much less stuff going on and a lot easier to set up. So that's really helpful. But thank you guys so much for stopping by. This was truly incredible. Thank you for coming back, and we'll do it again here pretty soon. And all right. That's it. All right. I'm going to keep working on my Umbara update. Hopefully I'll be able to get that out next week, and we'll continue the fun. So thank you guys so much for watching. Thank you all for stopping by. And yeah, all right. I'll see you guys later. And may the Force be with you always.